Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now,
you are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Welcome to it. Come on in, have a seat. Sit a spell. We have much to get to today on the show. You may notice on the stream the definition is a little bit better, because I increased the value of the broadcast quality on the camera, and then I put in new lights in the studio this weekend. My friend Mark Giuliani is the guy who's given me the studio to use, and we made it look really swell. I did a lot of work on the show this weekend, on the set in the studio this weekend. You see, I'm the only do-it-yourself TV and radio host in America. Engineered my entire studio, and then I got help with the lights, but otherwise I did it all myself. And when you see the set, finally, if you want to see the set, go to all of my social media at Rob Carson Show. We put up a wallpaper landscape of Washington, D.C. in the background. We've got a neon light over here in the corner with a brick wall, and then we got some paneling on the other side. It looks really cool. It looks good as a Gutfeld set almost. Well, maybe not as, but pretty darn close. And did it myself. This is the first, home improvement project, studio improvement project, I guess is what it is. So check it out. But you will notice the definition on my face is a little clear. Ladies, you can appreciate that. Probably some of you guys. I'm okay with that. That's fine. But you will notice that. Anyway, welcome to the show. I had a good weekend. Got to get out and went up to an event in near Baltimore, and went to an indoor golf place. Saw an 80s band called Weird Science. Threw T-shirts. Met a lot of you guys. It was such a thrill. It's always great to see how the show impacts people. And I got to hang out with Deplorabella, who's an amazing person. I ended up in an auction, right? You ever get to that auction? Remember Friends when Joey accidentally bid on the sailboat? I kind of had that going. I ended up buying a copy of her book for far more than I ever anticipated purchasing. Normally I host auctions. I never bid at stuff, but I ended up buying a book for far too much money. But it's going to a good charity, and it's helping out my good friend Deplorabella, by the way, whose book is called Chronicles of Deplorabella. I could think of no better way to start today than with some good news.
We love to win. Winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning, 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 lots of winning. It's oh so good.
Yeah, the Democrats are starting to say, hey, affordability, things aren't affordable. They made life a living hell. Every metric of quality of life in the last 4 years under Joe Biden went right into the toilet. You know it as well as I do. You remember it because we were in the middle of it. We had to work 2 or 3 jobs to pay the bills. The groceries doubled in price. Here's Steve Ducey comparing Joe Biden's crap fest of an economy versus Donald Trump's first nearly year.
You look at overall inflation for the first year of Trump versus Biden. Biden, overall inflation was up 4.3%. Higher than Trump, just up 1.6%.
That's per annum, by the way. So over 4 years, it was much higher than that, actually. And on groceries, it was about 35-40%. On homes, they doubled.
Groceries under Biden in that time, up 3.8%. With Trump, up 1.3.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to gas, this is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Biden, up 24.4%. With Trump, it is actually down 5.4%.
Yeah, you know what? People understand this. People realize this. And the media is doing everything they can to lie about everything Donald Trump is doing and act like everything sucks. But guess what? They don't. It doesn't suck. It's actually really good, and it's getting better, and it's going to get even better next year. Democrats know about it. Donald Trump was asked about this affordability issue over the weekend, and let's just face it, when Democrats are in charge, things are much less affordable.
We are correcting it. We have strong borders now. We have a great economy. The prices are coming down. The Democrats like to use the word affordability, but their affordability was terrible. The problem with the Democrats, they lie. They do it so well. They talk about affordability. but I'm the one that's getting the prices down. As an example, they had the highest inflation in the history of our country. I have it down now to a normal level, and it's going down further. Thank you very much.
I know. It's pretty good, actually. Egg prices are down 185% or something like that, and they're making them so cheap you Democrats can throw eggs once again at Tesla dealerships. But all of a sudden, I guess Elon Musk is no longer a Nazi, so you're not going to do that anymore. Kevin Hassett, who has a perpetual smile. You ever notice Kevin Hassett? He's with the Commerce Department. He's just like the happiest little guy in the world. You just want to give him a big hug. You almost think he should be making cookies on a hollow tree or something. Here he is talking about how the first 9 months of the Trump administration were spent digging out of Biden's hole. Okay, maybe I didn't put it that way. Out of the hole that Biden dug.
Purchasing power has gone up. And so real wages, that's W divided by P for our technical people of the audience, have gone up by about $1,200 this year.
Yeah.
So the way to think about it is that we've dug a $3,000 hole because of Biden policy.
Yeah, because you see when Joe Biden was the president, he was terrible. And he had pudding for brains. He really wasn't the president. Somebody else was the president. It was probably Barack Obama and a bunch of other people like Susan Rice and a bunch of other nutbag leftists. But anyway, the value of what you have every single year, it was costing you $3,000 a year just to live.
And we've gained $1,200 on the way out already, which should give you a great deal of hope for the future.
Can you imagine what would have happened if Kamala Harris was president? We'd be digging out of her hole right now.
Wage increases that we're seeing will continue, and even if inflation stays positive, make it so that people feel way better when they go to the grocery store and to buy a car. We've reduced the cost of buying a car with the deductibility of interest. I mean, there's a million things that we're doing to fix this problem, but it's just...
Yeah, I guess you can deduct the interest on your car if it's made in America, but unfortunately I bought Buck the Bronco 3 years ago.
Kind of astonishing to me that...
I wonder if it's retroactive. I don't think so, but damn.
The cost problem is somehow being blamed on us. Now, think about it, especially with the Obamacare thing. So Obamacare is 100%...
Yeah, that was a crap sandwich without the bread.
Democratic policy. It's always...
We found out last week that Obamacare was a giant piece of should I say crap again? Yeah, crap, total crap.
It's been 100% Democratic policy. What they did is they expanded the subsidies during COVID, and then all those subsidies basically went right into the pockets of insurance companies.
Yeah,
and
the insurance companies, their stocks went up like 1,000%.
Obamacare insurance policies have doubled in price relative to normal policies.
Yeah, it used to be like you could get insurance for a family of four for 10 to 12 grand a year. Now it's like 36 to 48K.
And so the fastest inflation in the economy is these big government subsidies thrown at Obamacare insurance. Think about it. It's kind of like if you give lots of student loans, then the tuition goes up. It's that effect.
Yeah, that kind of happened too.
And so now they're blaming President Trump for Obamacare as well. They should have fixed Obamacare.
Yeah, no. Everything that the Democrats do ends up it hatches out and ends up being just awful, Yesterday I was watching Chris Plant had this good show called The Biden Chronicles on Newsmax. He talked about all the crap that Biden and Obama foisted upon us, from Inflation Reduction Act to Obamacare to green energy nonsense and all of it. All of it failed. All of it failed. And now we have to fix things. And now Donald Trump's talking about this. Listen, I'd like us to pay off the debt. I would like to pay off the debt, obviously. But we got a lot of tariffs coming in right now. We got a lot of people who are lower income, $100,000 and below. I'm not saying that's low, but it's pretty damn low. $100,000 ain't what it used to be. So $100,000 or less, and those people had to go out, do 2 or 3 jobs the last 4 years. They're talking about sending those folks a $2,000 dividend check, and I'm not all that opposed to it.
But they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a fake deal called the Inflation Reduction Act. That was made up money. When I pay people $2,000 each for low and moderate income.
Yeah, there you can't hardly hear it. He's on Air Force One. But yeah, just pay $2,000 for people for lower and moderate income, because all the suffering that was subjected to them under the awful pudding for brains presidency of Joe Biden. And actually, it ended up being a good thing that they stole the election in 2020, because it gave Donald Trump 4 years to get a plan together to turn the country around. Democrats know this, by the way. They know they're in for hell next year. They think they're going to win the midterms. They really don't think they're going to win the midterms. They just say it because they want to try and make everything sound terrible, but it's not. It's really good. They see the writing on the wall. Yeah, they do. They do. That's why they said, oh, yeah, last Tuesday, that election 2 weeks ago, that definitely a refutation of Donald Trump. No, it wasn't. It was a bunch of blue states, then, Democrat states, and state of Virginia, which had a turd. I'm using the word turd a lot. I need to come up with a new word. The terrible gubernatorial candidate from the Republican Party in Virginia, who really didn't have much of a chance to win. But otherwise, you kind of expected it in New Jersey, and you certainly expected it in New York, where, by the way, Zohran Mamdani wants to meet with Donald Trump. That's going to make all of those punks who voted for him real mad. They're going to get all sorts of mad. That's going to be pretty bad. That's going to be pretty bad. He wants to meet with Donald Trump. How do you suppose those little communists feel about him meeting with Donald Trump? Old Zohran realizes that without Trump and without federal money, New York is even more screwed than it had just been him in charge. And by the way, the drive by Staten Island to secede from New York City has been energized by his election. So I'm hoping that happens. If Staten Island were to secede, I have a funny feeling a lot of people would move back to New York. In fact, I know they would. And if Stefanik ended up being the governor, I should say, of New York, a lot of people would move back to New York, and certainly a lot of people would go to Staten Island. Listen, we got a bunch of stuff on the show today. We have got Operation Charlotte's Web in Charlotte, North Carolina. We got the fight between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump, among other things, and of course, lots and lots of guests, including the great Doug Burns, coming up at the bottom of this hour. So let's go ahead and take a break. You are listening to The Rob Carson Show.
Street protesters, we've had our fill, but Randy Fine has a bill, says move them on over, run them all over, run over protesters blocking all our roads. The Thump Thump bill is what it's called. I'm sure the left will be appalled, but move them on over. Run them all over. Step on the gas if they won't step aside. Sure, it might leave a dent, but make them a hood ornament. Run them all over. Thump them all over. If they block our streets, they'll get what they deserve. Socialist, Mamdani, a communist. He's a fan of the muss. His win will be New York's loss. He's an extremist, you bet, as New York's gonna get taxed like never before. When Mamdani is done, the city will run every grocery store. He'll defund the police and crime will increase as the murder rate begins to soar. Mamdani, anti-Jew, he despises Netanyahu. It is really a sin. New Yorkers voted him in. They'll regret that they helped him win.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
Now to your questions. The first question, obviously, that a lot of people have is, what's my take on Schumer and the 8 Democrats that folded to Trump? Look, I was absolutely furious. I still am. That they folded when I feel like we just had gotten the momentum, the wind behind our sails.
Wow, your suffering was the Democrats' wind behind their sails. You are the wind behind our sails. You're suffering and not getting paid to do your job and air traffic delays. Honestly, these people are just... wow, and a bucket load of suck. I'm saying a bucket load of suck. The Democrat Party. This is Chris Murphy. He's a moron. And this weekend he was on Meet the Press or something, and he was saying that the reason why the Democrats used the shutdown was to save democracy. And by the way, they're hinting at doing it again in January.
Was this a flawed strategy to begin?
That's Jonathan Carl with the K.
With the idea of using a shutdown to as leverage?
Well, Democrats didn't want this shutdown.
Yeah, you did. It was the next thing, you see.
But we have values.
Oh, my God. Hold on a second. Oh, my God. The party that says boys can become girls and compete with girls say they have values. That's funny.
And so if you want Democratic votes for a budget, it has to be a moral budget that doesn't...
A moral budget. Let's see. $1.5 trillion for illegal alien health care.
Destroy our democracy. The fact of the matter is, if you don't put constraints on Donald Trump's illegality, this democracy isn't going to be here next November. It isn't going to be here in 2028.
Oh, man, it just sucks to be you. We're going into the 250th anniversary of our country, so it's going to be really patriotic. Donald Trump his economy is really starting to pick up steam. The fourth quarter is going to be amazing. You know what? I looked at a bellwether for how Christmas is going to be. Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas" has already been streamed 9 million times. That means people are, well, first of all, a lot of women are streaming it because, God, I hate that song. But it says to me that people are ready for a little Xmas action. They're ready to celebrate, right? I mean, you've also got, they murdered Charlie Kirk. The Democrats and the left murdered Charlie Kirk. And there's this gigantic spiritual revival happening around the country, and they're trying to whiz on it. It's not working. So we're going into the holiest of holidays for Christians and Jews, and the economy's turning around. So people are going to be giving. It's going to be amazing. Then we're going to the 250th anniversary of the country. And all of the people who hate the country, which is the Democrat Party and the left, they're going to be spiraling into hell all next week. And it's going to culminate on July the 4th with an MMA fight on the grounds of the White House. Which I can't wait for. And the Democrats have got nothing. They got D-word for Richard. Here's Tim Kaine, the awful Tim Kaine. He's a senator from the state where I live. I know I'm embarrassed, but I didn't vote for him. And he says they're going to do the shutdown again in January.
If Democrats cannot get an agreement on Obamacare subsidies, do you rule out shutting down the government again in January?
Don't ask me to assume failure on the effort that we're undertaking. I think we can. We ought to plan for success and then adjust if we don't get it. As you point out, the continuing resolution,
they want to do it again,
goes to January 31. We're guaranteed
because it's the wind behind their sails.
Healthcare vote in December, so we'll have a chance to put our best foot forward. Let the American public see it.
Yeah, we're going to put our best foot forward. We're going to plant it right in your act.
And Kristen, the public will see this debate on health care without it being drowned out.
You mean the health care system that Barack Obama pushed on us and it failed?
By air traffic delays, SNAP recipients losing benefits.
Which is what you guys did.
It's federal employees losing their paycheck.
Again, this is what you guys did.
For the third or fourth time. It would have been hard to grab everybody's attention on the health care issue if all of the other consequences of shutdown were drowning it out.
No. Here's where he's projecting, and he's doing the typical thing that Democrats do because they're complete a-holes. The shutdown that the Democrats demanded exposed the fact that Barack Obama's Obamacare has failed. That's what happened.
Now the government is open, and now the American public will watch this health care debate, and we'll see which side are you on.
Okay, I don't hear you ruling it out.
Yeah, you don't hear you ruling it out because you want to use it again. And honestly, go ahead. Go ahead. I don't think it's going to happen. You've given Donald Trump and the Republican Party the onus to fix the damned healthcare system that you guys bleeped up. So there you go. And there's no doubt about it. It was exposed that Obamacare is a joke. That's it. That's all. That's that. Okay. So this has been an amazing year. It's coming to a close here pretty soon. One of the biggest things that happened this year, other than me moving to Washington, D.C., which I know is high on your list, is the gigantic growth in the value of gold. It started off the year at about $2,600 an ounce, and right now hovering way above $4,000, made it up to $4,200 last week. So that's pretty amazing. That's pretty gigantic. If your IRA or 401k didn't do that, maybe your plan for 2026 should be investing in precious metals. How about that? How about doing it with Birch Gold? Because right now, through the end of this month, which is coming up pretty soon because it's already the 17th, for every $20,000 invested with Birch Gold, Birch will send free gold to your home. Yeah. Pretty cool. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty. Central banks are buying it up, making it more valuable. If you would like some information from Birch Gold and the possibility for free gold, text my name Rob to 989898 to claim your eligibility for a free info kit on gold. But your opportunity for free gold with purchase ends November the 30th, okay? So text Rob to 989898 to begin the ball rolling for Birch Gold. This weekend, Operation Charlotte's Web started in Charlotte as federal ICE agents are flooding Charlotte, which was a sanctuary city. They've already detained about 1,400 people across North Carolina who were here illegally, most of them criminals. And here's MSNBC going to the street to talk to people in Charlotte about what they think about it. And guess what? They love it.
I spoke to some residents here outside the train station on their thoughts about that. Take a listen.
I think Border Patrol and, ICE and everything is very necessary all over the country. It's just, we have people that are, that are employed in places or getting, paid.
Yeah, pretty much. This is Representative Rob Menendez saying that we are less safe when we deport illegal criminals.
The other important thing is they're taking CBP agents, right? So these are not ICE agents. These are people who are supposed to be at our border and moving them. This is happening across DHS. So I would argue that our country is not safer because of what they're doing. We're becoming less safe every single day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. This is why the Democrat Party is morally and intellectually bankrupt. This is why they are not going to win the midterms, and next year could be one of the best years we've lived in this country. Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor, joins us on the other side of the break. Do not go anywhere. As the weather cools, I'm swapping in the pieces that actually get the job done. Warm, durable, built to last, and Quincy delivers every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. I call fall the great equalizer. You can put layers on. I actually like the way I look in clothes now, and Quincy has the kind of fall staples you actually want to wear on repeat, like 100% Mongolian cashmere from just $60. Classic fit denim, always good, and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up. I've got my eye on their suede trucker jacket. It's perfect for layering and looks really casual but put together. By partnering directly with ethical factories and top artisans, Quincy cuts out the middleman to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quincy.com/newsmax for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/newsmax. Free shipping and 365-day returns. QUINCE.com/newsmax.
Law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, not necessarily prevent them from happening.
Buffoon. Jasmine, she is a buffoon. District no longer exists. out of the Congress real soon. I'll be glad when she's gone from D.C. No Jasmine, it will be pure bliss. I know that this may not sound PC. That mouth on her I will not miss. Buffoon. Jasmine is a total fake. Her ghetto accent's not real. How much more can we take? Buffoon. She was drawn out of her seat. Will be in Congress no longer. Her leaving will be a treat.
You know, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful.
Donald Trump is saying now that we should take a look at Pelosi's stock trades. Could Nancy be a crook? She had information on each and every trade, a case against her, and her husband could be made. Pelosi's, they make millions while they take us for a ride. Now we learn they're insider trading on the side. We'd be in the slammer if this were you or me. It's time to prosecute Paul and Nancy Pelosi, ripping us off. A couple of thieves, day trading on the side.
What I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated.
You're seeing a grand jury that's been opened down in the Southern District of Florida that's going to get impaneled in January, and in Fort Pierce. That's been opened by the courts. It's a public document. My friend Jason Redding Quinones is the U.S. attorney in Miami who motioned the court to open that. I have very publicly called for Fort Pierce to be the grand jury that investigates this unprecedented Republican-ending lawfare by these Democrats with Crossfire Hurricane and continued with Arctic frost. So I would say to these lawfare Democrats, justice is coming, lawyer up, nobody is above the law.
I hope so, because 4 years of DOJ weaponization, it was more than 4 years actually, weaponization against Donald Trump and his followers, and hopefully the grand conspiracy is being uncovered, and it looks like it could go all the way to the top, even to Barack Obama. Doug Burns, former federal prosecutor, one of the favorite guests on this year's radio program, joins us live on the Newsmax Hotline. How are you today, my friend?
Good, Rob. How are you?
I'm good. It sounds like the conspiracy. There's talk of grand conspiracy with regard to Barack Obama and a lot of other people. Russia collusion, Arctic frost, surveillance, the whole deal. Are we beginning to finally see the feces hit the fan?
I think so, yeah. We went through a period of just breathtaking sort of ignoring of things. As I've bemoaned over and over to you and your audience, I watched so-called pundits, legal pundits, literally saying, oh, all of that's nothing more than right-wing talking points, and all of that's been debunked. And none of that was true. There is, in fact, a lot to investigate. There was a lot of conspiratorial activity to undermine Donald Trump's rights, and it was disgraceful. So, again, it's an open question as to what the end result will be, but for right now, I'm pleased that they're going to be looking at it closely.
Well, it was an indignity served upon the legal establishment, certainly. You had to, as a legal professional, look at it and had fingers pointed at you, laughing like you didn't know what the hell you were talking about when we knew exactly what the hell was going on. And so there was no doubt about that. The Epstein, let's talk a bit about the Epstein files, and you and I both have said, and many have reasoned that if the DOJ and the FBI had anything on Donald Trump tying him to Jeffrey Epstein, they would have done it while he was running for president, considering they did 91 political charges, 4 political indictments, tried to put him in jail and taken his fortune. Don't you suppose if they had him messing around with teenage girls, we'd know about it by now? And now Donald Trump is saying, yep, go ahead and release the Epstein files. Release all of them. What are your thoughts?
That's an overwhelming inference. It's one of the 2 biggest inferences in the matter. A, if they had anything on Trump, it would have been leaked out so fast your head would be spinning. And then, by the way, I can expand upon that because, Alan Dershowitz, famed criminal lawyer and former Harvard law professor, was in the actual case. David Schoen in the actual case. I'm reading a scroll right now on TV. Dershowitz to cable channel. Epstein files will vindicate Trump. So the point is, Dershowitz and David Schoen know that there's absolutely no smoking gun. It's a big nothing. The recent activity, before I forget my train of thought, the other overwhelming inference, Rob, is that nobody on the left or the Democratic side spoke about the case for 4 years. Yeah. I'm chuckling. Yeah. And now all of a sudden you're going to look into a camera and tell me that it's an important matter. But the fact of the matter is, it's a big nothing. It's reminiscent of Trump's tax returns. Everybody was foaming at the mouth. Then when they were released, you never heard a word about it. It's the same thing here. It is interesting, by the way, to sort of keeping up with, breaking news that the president is now saying, go ahead and release the stuff. Probably should have done that from the beginning, but I'm not giving him any, political pointers. But the fact is, he's got nothing to hide, Rob.
Well, but do Democrats? You've heard that Bill Clinton, a report last year from CNN said that he went into the editorial offices of Vanity Fair and said, stop the inquiry. We know that he kind of had a penchant for younger women. I don't know if you know there was an intern or something in the White House, and he stained her dress or something.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that. Now I know what. Trust me on this one. I think it happened. But he also flew.
Here's the thing, Rob.
Yes.
With Epstein, there are 2 words that come to my mind. One is desperation, and 2 is hypocrisy. Desperation is sitting here with my wife the other night, and Donald John Trump, the President of the United States of America, is reopening the United States government.
Yes.
And MSNBC is not covering that. Instead, they're foaming at the mouth with Andrew Weissman about Epstein. Absurd. That's ridiculous, okay?
Well, they whipped it out. They whipped it out right that night. They go back to Epstein. And the Democrat Party, they know it.
That's desperation on steroids. Now you go to hypocrisy. What is the definition of hypocrisy? Very simple. The definition of hypocrisy is a bunch of supposed, in air quotes, legal experts, legal pundits, saying, there's a picture of Jeff Epstein with Bill Clinton. That doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
That doesn't prove anything.
Yes.
We don't have guilt by association, and it doesn't prove that he did anything wrong. Now, by the way, I agree with all of that, except for one problem. 5 minutes later, there's a photo with Jeff Epstein with Donald Trump. aha, Trump's
Yes.
a pervert, he's a pedophile, and he's a criminal.
Yes, but you also
So, come
see, you also see one of the women allegedly involved with Epstein giving Bill Clinton a shoulder massage. So there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that. But I want you to hear. This is the president over the weekend talking about Zohran Mamdani.
The mayor of New York, I will say, would like to meet with us, and we'll work something out. But he would like to come to Washington and meet, and we'll work something out.
I think that's pretty remarkable considering how mouthy that Zohran was during the campaign and his acceptance speech. What do you suppose turned old Zohran's mind? Because he's talking about flying to D.C. and meeting Donald Trump, which I'm not so sure the little commies who voted for him are going to be too crazy about.
Oh, they're going to rip him like you've never seen. But the point is, you know, on one level, the guy, you know, he was an intelligent politician because he argued up and down that he hates Trump and Trump is evil and horrible. But at the same time, how did the voters not realize, excuse me, the mayor of New York City has to work with the federal government and not for nothing work with them in terms of billions of dollars of funding. So, I mean, these people are wildly ignorant. It's beyond belief. But Mamdani is going to have to work with Trump.
Yeah, and he also sees that Donald Trump has already promised to cut off everything from New York. You know, and then also the real possibility of Elise Stefanik becoming the governor. Kathy Hochul's doing a face plant as the governor of New York. There's been talk forever, by the way, of Staten Island seceding from New York City. That has been energized. I realize the possibility is far-fetched, but wouldn't it be remarkable? It would actually make New York a desirable location because so many people are leaving and have left.
Yeah, New York, you know, has 5 components. For those who aren't, you know, as familiar with it, it's Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island. 4 of the 5 are liberal, and Staten Island's conservative. So the point is, back in the 40s, apparently, I read this morning, there was talk about it, and then in, I think it was like 1963, it actually got fairly far along, but then it's stymied in the state legislature. But the point is, Staten Island is called Richmond County. New York State has, I think, 62 counties, and the proposition would be for it to simply become, you know, Richmond County, not affiliated with New York City. And I think it would probably be a good idea because, as the Staten Island leader said, he put it beautifully and simply, which I always like. He said, you know, the values that are being espoused throughout New York City do not align with the values of Staten Island, Rob.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. It would actually make it a desirable location. I would never consider living in New York City, but would you consider moving from Manhattan to Staten Island, Duggar?
I'm packing my bags right now.
All right, let's take a break and hold. Can you hold on for the next break?
Yeah.
All right, we got a lot more to get to. Doug Burns joining us on the Newsmax Hotline. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Bank guaranteed.
They push it because they haven't offered, our understanding is they've offered no money whatsoever. They've apologised in a letter, but they haven't offered you a penny in compensation. There was this figure of $1 billion that you may be pursuing.
I think I have an obligation to do it. Look, I'm not looking to get into lawsuits, but I think I have an obligation to do it. This was so egregious. If you don't do it, you don't stop it from happening again with other people. I think you probably have an obligation. I'd like to find out why they did it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Who thinks like this? And I wonder if they've done it. We'll find this out. The nice part about litigation is we'll find out how many times have they done it to other people. Maybe they did it to me quite a bit. Because I've gotten a lot of publicity over there before. I was getting in Aberdeen, which is such a great place.
Okay, that is Donald Trump talking to GB News this weekend about how he's obligated to going after the BBC for their editing of his January the 6th comments, taking a one comment an hour after he said it and putting it together to make it sound like he wanted us to violently attack the Capitol. I agree, and it's kind of interesting because there are so many ways that the liberal leftist media has taken it into the shorts, from lying about everything from Hunter Biden's laptop, but now this is a new way that truth will have to make it, because there's the threat of a lawsuit in order there. Doug Burns, a former federal prosecutor on the Newsmax Hotline. What do you think about this? I believe he is obliged. I want to see them pay for it, and I also want to see them adjust the way they do business back to truth, by the way.
No, I couldn't agree more, 100%. I think I'm on pretty solid ground, terra firma, as they say,
yes.
to point out that his phrase, go peacefully and patriotically, was one of the most censored sentences in world history, in my opinion. To this day, I can literally ask people, of course I'm in New York City, so the audience should understand that, explaining what I'm about to say. I'll ask somebody, did you realize that President Trump, in that now famous speech, January 6th, said go peacefully and patriotically? They look at me completely blank-faced. No, I never heard that.
Wow.
So the point is, it was incredibly scrubbed and censored and removed. It's just breathtaking. And, those of us who do trials, we know that in a courtroom, if you play a tape of somebody saying go peacefully and patriotically, that's going to obviously eviscerate your theory that he was inciting violence. But back to what we're discussing, sorry to digress.
No, not at all.
I agree with you, Rob. I agree with you, Rob. They should be held to account. I would also note, and the audience knows this, that, in the United States we have New York Times v. Sullivan, which makes it harder for a public figure to sue. You don't have that in Britain, so it's an easier standard, and I think he should go forward.
But I'm curious. You're dealing with two different countries. Sometimes it's more difficult to compel, companies in other countries to pay a settlement like this. What would compel the BBC to write a check, stroke a check for $1 billion? Would they be forced to? How does it relate to British law?
No, it's a really good question, obviously. The point is, first you have some tricky jurisdictional notions, obviously. Can a U.S. plaintiff, bring a lawsuit in Britain? The answer is yes, because the thing was published, whatever they published and doctored was in England, and, he can bring the lawsuit there. But to answer your question, very good one, compelling them and forcing them, no, if he can reduce the lawsuit to a judgment, prevail in a trial, either by a court or by a jury, then obviously the case would be appealed and so on. But ultimately, if they are found to have libeled him and defamed him, and a certain amount of money was assigned to it, and it's all been upheld on appeal, then at that point they would in fact have to pay him.
This is interesting, Doug, because there's a difference between, like in, for instance, a political ad campaigns, you can basically say whatever you want about your competition. You can say anything you want. You can say, molested an alligator, and you'll be like, oh, I can't say anything about it. But and I never did, by the way. I never did. It was a pet, for God's sake. But I'm choking Doug up here. But
hold on a ridiculous interjection out of nowhere with
Yes.
Paul Hogan doing an ad, and he smiles very charismatically. He goes, the thing about wrestling stars. He goes, it's tough getting them in those little wrestling outfits. Really funny.
And this is where the interview descends into crocodile molestation. Let's talk, though. Let me ask you this, Doug. But Donald Trump was successful in his lawsuit against 60 Minutes. And now you've got, like, CNN last week in the middle of the sentence saying, well, somebody had alluded, I don't remember the congressman, that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, and the CNN anchor immediately said, but we have no evidence of that. We've never heard that from CNN. There are people who are now stopping mid-sentence and going, holy crap, we could get our butt suit off. And that usually only exists in conservative media outlets when they're talking about election theft and stuff.
Jen Psaki pivoted faster than an NBA player coming off of a pick.
I know.
No, seriously, because she literally said,
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to watch it. She goes, and these various pedophiles like Trump, and boy, her face reddened up quick.
Oh, yes.
She immediately had to pivot out of it and so forth. Look, when you're angry, you don't make good decisions, and these people are ridiculous. And it's worth repeating my point, which is they have absolutely no compunction whatsoever about assigning guilt by association to Trump. But when it's, anybody on the other side, it's like, oh, no, they did nothing wrong. And it's getting tedious, and I think they're misjudging the public, which is a theme that I've told you many times.
Well, this is another way, to get them to tell the damn truth and do their jobs. Doug Burns, I appreciate you, and you'll be getting those alligator boots for Christmas in the mail soon.
I will be checking the mailbox daily.
All right,
Thanks,
Doug,
Rob.
I'll talk to you soon. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. I don't know where that came from, but anyway. Hi. Who's watching here? We got the Rumbly Roo, Conservative 1974. Rob, always making my day better. Well, thanks. I'm glad I could do that at somebody. Deborah D, 1955. Beck Ottenberry. Hello. Jamie Lewis, good to see you as well. My husband is hot in a Navy uniform. Well, look at you, Jamie. God darn it, you little minx. Let's see, over here on the YouTube. Good morning, Rob. Deplorable Dinosaur. Hello. Merlin Wizard. What's up? Hope you had a nice weekend, guys. I'm going to Pittsburgh for Thanksgiving. Looking forward to. And then Christmas, I'm going to take 2 weeks off for the first time ever. Other than unemployment. Looking forward to get the hell out of Dodge, going home and spending time with my kids and my dogs. Nancy Pitsley is new on the Facebook. Hi, Nancy. What up? Nancy says something about New York. Hold on one second. Nancy said, hold on, I'm scrolling up here. I got a little tiny window to peek through. Kind of like when I was a teenage boy. My neighbor's house. Where is it? Dale, Robert, Carol. Oh, I'm trying to find it here. She's talking about upstate New York. Well, darn it, I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. I hope you're enjoying the radio program. What do we got next here? Do we have a new comedy from Jim Gossett? Hey, Brian, let me bump back. All right. I've got a bump back. It's a music bump, by the way, for those of you who wonder. Oh, here we go. 310, okay. Here we go. Got a haircut did you notice? Here we go. Give me a 3 count.
3, 2, 1.
Put on the telly to the BBC, yeah. BBC One, BBC Two,
Austin Powers, the BBC.
BBC Six, BBC Seven, BBC Eight.
Yeah, just like the NPR, PBS, they're government-funded leftism. They only toe one party line. I hope that Donald Trump blows them out of the water. Here is Greg Jarrett, Fox News, talking about the BBC and Donald Trump's $1 billion lawsuit.
They falsely portrayed Trump, as you showed it,
inciting violence in a clear case of what I think is defamation. I mean, they deleted his caution to act peacefully, and then they spliced together the video to give...
I love this. I love that Donald Trump is now using the threat of a lawsuit, because I hate to tell you this, conservative media has been targeted by lawsuits and massive settlements for bullcrap for years.
The opposite impression, almost certainly defamatory. I mean, why else would the BBC apologize, retract, and remove the...
The apology wasn't enough. Yay!
...story, but the problem for them is it doesn't erase the damages that Trump sustained over 3 years. I mean, they ran this thing constantly over a long period of time, and they did the same thing 2 years earlier.
It also helped to magnify the lie of January the 6th.
Same phony clip causing harm to Trump.
Which also resulted in hundreds of people being imprisoned for years with no trial.
Trump's reputation, not just in Great Britain, but worldwide. Disparaging, dishonest propaganda, quite deliberate, shameful journalism.
I think this public broadcasting should be defunded altogether. Here is Greg Jarrett talking about the possibility of billions of dollars.
We'll sue them for anywhere between $1 billion and $5 billion, probably sometime next week.
I think you should go for 5.
So you're ready to take... Well, I think I have to do it. I mean, they've even admitted that they cheated.
It's hard to put a value on it at this early juncture, but it's considerable. You know, 2 top executives resigned in disgrace when they removed the slander, and yet the BBC still claims it wasn't defamatory, which is absurd. They knew it was wrong.
Of course.
And, you know, equally ludicrous is their insistence that, there's no institutional bias at the BBC. Really? Take a look at their own internal memo from their standards advisor exposing the newsroom for its pervasive liberal bias, corrupting the network's reporting.
We have waited a long time for this, guys, haven't we? Decades of the liberal media destroying conservatives, and finally the feces is hitting the fan. We've got hour number 2 of the broadcasting coming up. MTG and Trump break up, among other things, and the Democrat, they have no bench. They have no bench at all. That's coming up. Second hour of the Rob Carson Show right ahead. Don't go anywhere.
This is the right...
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
Hold it now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 2 of the show on a Monday. You may notice a slight difference in the look of the stream because I kind of changed a few things in the studio. Spent a good share of the weekend in the studio. If you want to check out my social media, go to Twitter, Rob Carson Show, Instagram, Facebook, X. Well, X is Twitter. All of them, just look up Rob Carson Show and you'll see some of the pictures. I'm engineering and building a broadcast studio. It looks very much like late night television here in Washington, D.C. because you know what? I'm here for a reason, by God. And I'm going to, we're going to blow this thing up. We're going to make it awesome. We're going to do what Gutfeld can't do in New York City and what the other morons in L.A. won't do. And that is bring comedy, bring fun to Washington, D.C. And hopefully we'll be bringing guests and everything here in the studio and all of that. So great things are happening. If you want to see it all, but anyway, back to the image you'll be seeing on the stream. You may look a little cleaner. We got new lights that we put in here this weekend, and then I made some adjustments on the camera. We're getting ready to add another camera. Couple of cameras. It's quite a to-do. It is. It's quite a to-do as we get ready to go into the holidays. Thanksgiving right ahead. I'm going to be going to Pittsburgh for Thanksgiving, hanging with some dear friends of mine, and then going back home, at least the place I've called home for 10 years, which is Kansas City area, and taking 2 weeks off for the first time in my career. It really isn't 2 weeks. Combined with the holidays, it's really only about 7 vacation days. But I haven't really taken much vacation this year because of, all of the stuff that's happened. And, I was watching this weekend. Now, on a personal note, real quick here. You followed, my life, and I share my life with you for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is I want a witness. I want not a witness, but to witness. To show you, maybe what's possible if you've hit bottom and you're looking for a way out. And my life has been unbelievable. The last 10 years, I moved back to Kansas City. I lose my job 2 years into a 5-year deal because I made too much money. Found out that my biological family met my half-sister. She told me the reason I was given up for adoption is because my mother was raped. I had my mother die, my brother die. I had to sell cars for a living. Got discovered by Chris Ruddy, who called me when I was working one Sunday afternoon, said, "Rob Carson, where have you been?" I said, "Well, in an abusive relationship with radio." And he goes, "Man, you're a star. I'm going to make you a star." And then I had a miraculous curing of alcoholism after years of trying one night. After being confronted by my son one night. After being hospitalized 3 times, trying to quit drinking, going through what's called DTs, which are delirium tremens, which are your body nearly exploding because of withdrawal. If you quit drinking after drinking heavily for years, your heart rate goes through the ceiling, your BP goes to the ceiling, and sometimes you stroke out and die. I had that happen 3 times. But on January 11th, 4 years ago, I woke up and I couldn't remember the taste of alcohol. And now I'm about 750 to 800 workouts later and 4 years of sobriety. And then unfortunately, my wife decided that she didn't want to be with me anymore. After I'd, fixed everything, right? It's kind of odd how that would happen, right? So I went through all of this. And the reason why I share it with you is because, I would like you to realize what's possible if you're suffering. I was watching a video this weekend, and this guy was saying that this doctor was talking to Bill Maher, and he says that, women, when they divorce and after they've been married a number of years, they are happier people, right? And that's cool, and I wish her all the best. I do. But men frequently die younger because they're lonely and sad, and I was very, very getting very lonely, And sad last week, towards the beginning of the week, I was having some other stuff going on, and I said, you know what, bullcrap. Freaking bullcrap. I moved to Washington, D.C. I pulled up everything. I put my stuff in the back of a freaking U-Haul like a kid right out of college. And I had a studio, a TV studio that I built in Kansas City myself. Built a TV and a radio studio, began streaming before Facebook would let you do it. And then I moved, I picked up everything and said, you know what, I got nothing to lose here. My family's no longer intact. My wife doesn't want to spend her life with me anymore. I can stay here in Kansas City, and I could go to the store and go to the gym and go home. Or I can move to Washington, D.C. because, for the last 4 years, you and I have been together. We've been through hell. The last 9 years, we've been through hell. These sons of bees in the media and the left, they tried to put us in jail. They censored us. They took away our ability to express ourselves. They shut us down, said our opinions were disinformation and misinformation. We've never seen anything like it. They tried to put our presidential candidate. They stole an election. They put a pudding for brains loser in, and we suffered for 4 years. And then when Donald Trump announced he was going to win, they came up with 91 surreptitious charges, tried to take him, to put him in jail, take his fortune, tried to take him off the ballot, tried to murder him. And we got through all of that. I said, by God, I'm going to go to Washington, D.C. then. And I'm here now. And I'm not going to be sad. That's why I did the studio this weekend. Because I want to show you what's possible. And I'm not going to be sad. I'm going to be... somebody is talking. I got a new agent. She's a really cool lady. And I've always had bad luck with agents. They've always been guys, and they've always done a crappy job. And she said, Rob, you know what? She goes, you bring people joy. She saw me because I took her down to a place here, Old Town Alexandria, on King Street, and I was walking along, and if I see somebody singing, whatever, I'll jump in and sing along with them, or I'll do backup harmonies, or I'll, tip the guy playing the guitar, or the guys at the car wash up here. Got a bunch of brown people working at the car wash, and every time I go there and get a car wash, I buy them all breakfast because the McDonald's is right there, because I feel joy. And she goes, you feel joy. And you joy. And I said, you know what? I could project negativity, or I could project joy. And I'm going to tell you something. The next year, the Democrat Party is going to throw everything at us because they want to win those midterms, even though they suck. And so the best thing we can do is what I've been doing the last couple of years is saying overwhelm them with joy and patriotism. And by God, it's real joy. And when I was, with my agent, they saw this group of high school kids, and they're all just buzzing. I said, where are you kids from? They said, Minnesota. I said, where about? Minneapolis. They said, I used to work at KS95. And they all gathered around me, were laughing and stuff. And I just don't have time for it. And like I said, the left is unrelenting. They are going to continue this nonsense. This last year has been just crap. Donald Trump won the election. The left has been throwing a temper tantrum. They said that Elon Musk was a Nazi. They said Donald Trump was a king and an oligarch. They have done everything. And by God, we are going to overwhelm them with joy and patriotism when we're going to beat their asses again. That's it. That's why I'm here. I'm here to witness to you, and I'm here to bring you joy and humor and use comedy as a cudgel against them, because the left cannot deal with comedy and making fun of them. They can't. I said conservative comedy is on the ascension because the left can't be taken seriously anymore. And it's true. Greg Gutfeld is a prime example. I started my show 3 years before his on Saturday nights. And now he's late night. He's got Fox behind him. He's number one because he tells the truth. He does it without Hollywood celebrities. He does it without a band. He does it without musical acts. He just does it. And that's what I'm going to do here. That's what I'm going to do here. Make no bones about it. You're here with me. You are here with me. And listen, I do this show in a box by myself. Right now, all I see in front of me are two lights above me and my face looking in my camera. That's it. And I'm in a box by myself every day. But I can feel you there. I can see you there. And I can tell you there. I can tell you there. I can read your comments on the broadcast. And I know you're there. And when I went out this weekend, I met you. And I'm going to continue to do that because you're here with me. You are. And we're going into 2026, the 250th birthday of this great country, and we are going to turn back every damned negative thing they've said about our country, the country we're proud of, the country that we have served, regardless of color, regardless of faith, regardless of sex. We love this country, and we are experiencing a rebirth of patriotism and love for this country because we consider ourselves blessed to have been born here or to have come here and become citizens. It is the greatest gift, and we live at an extraordinary time. This will be the most extraordinary year to live in America. I promise you this, it will. And there are only people on the left who are going to try and take it away from it. But guess what? We're not going to let it happen, are we? We aren't. And we're going into the holiday season, and by God, it's going to be a glorious holiday season. And I'll just say Christmas, and I'll just say Hanukkah, because those are the holidays. Those are the holidays. All right. We've got much to get to on the show. Tony Shaver's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Michelle Obama is a whiny, spoiled brat. We're going to get to her interview of the weekend. She's blaming white people for straightening her hair, and nobody cares, by the way. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump are fighting, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is honestly committing career and political suicide. We're going to get to all of that. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Well, they have a lot of cats, and they're mostly Democrats like B.B. Harris. They cry when they lose from their left-wing views. I wish they'd spare us. They're cat ladies. Whoa, 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 they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who have clearly lost their minds.
People that are pro-life, I hate you.
Got called out by J.D. Vance. When he had the chance, he really nailed them. They're too dumb to know. Kamala and Joe have really failed them. They're cat ladies. Don't have a child, they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who are out of their minds.
Trump's new borders are, we'll clean up the mess. The mess Kamala, she did not address. Open borders, he will abort. And illegals, he will deport. Thomas Homan, he will say no, man. You must go, man. Mexico, man, you're headed back. Thomas Homan, he's a former cop. Border jumpers, Tom is gonna stop. Used to be in charge of ICE. To illegals, Tom will not be nice. Thomas Homan, they ought to know, man. He's not a showman. Thomas Homan will kick you out.
You better start packing now.
Thomas Homan, he is your foe, man. You've got to go,
Deplorabella standing by.
Got it. You guys remember last week when I told you those last pennies that they were going to press at the mint because they're getting rid of the penny? I said they'd be worth a lot of money. Guess what? Up to $5 million. Up to $5 million. At the Philadelphia Mint last Wednesday, they printed the last few pennies, the last 5 pennies ever made, and they're worth up to $5 million. Also, one of these lunatic numismatists, these people who collect coins, says that one of the coins was being held by one of the people there, one of the people who were pressing the coins, and he says that because they've held it with their fingers, that it's probably gone down in value. They said, you just don't do that. Copper is very reactive to sweat and the oils of the skin, and any serious collector is going to look at this photo and take it into consideration whether they actually touched the penny. I mean, really, dear God, are you kidding me? Okay, whatever. But I guess people take, if you're willing to spend $5 million for a 1-cent piece, probably something a little wrong with your head anyway. So there. I am told Deplorabella, the author of the Chronicles of Deplorabella, now available on Amazon, is on the Newsmax Hotline. How are you today, my dear?
Well, I am still in a whirl of enthusiasm. You preemptively bring education and joy and entertainment to any gathering you join. And it was just so great to see you working on behalf of veterans, incredible charities, and you were just a superstar, as you always are.
Well, for those of you who don't know, we had an event in Baltimore, and Deplorabella's son, Scott, who has a band, an 80s band called Weird Science, and damn, they're good, by the way. They are really good. Well, I mean, the keyboard player doing Boston, oh my God, and then, oh my, it was so good. It was so good. But anyway, we did this event, and we had a live auction, and your book came up for sale, and I started the bidding on this thing. Now, I knew I was going to be in trouble. I knew I was going to be in trouble. But I'm just going to leave it at, I have never spent that much money on a book before.
It should have been an original transcript from some great author.
I know.
I appreciate what you did on behalf of the charity.
Yeah, we raised some money.
And you just left me shaking with joy and amazement at your generosity.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Go ahead.
I'm calling on behalf of preemption, and I want to speak in its favor. When Benjamin Netanyahu knew that Iran was plotting and planning for decades to take Israel out and to have a nuclear capability, he didn't sit back and say, well, let's just wait and see what they do. Nor did President Trump. Both of them understood what was coming, and both of them said, no, we're not playing this waiting game to assuage the conscience of the left who wants us annihilated anyway. We're going to do what we have to do for the security of our respective countries, and that's what they did. So now I am calling for more preemptive action by President Trump. I want to see him end the filibuster and pack the Supreme Court. Why? Because this is what the Democrats have promised they will do.
That's true.
And they will do it. They will resort to by any means necessary, because that's what communists, Islamists, and globalist enemies of this country do. If he packs the court, he will be able to finally codify all of his executive orders into law. He will be able to rid himself of the lawfare being waged by these judges who were already instructed by the Supreme Court that they do not have the jurisdiction in their entities to stop national measures, but they're doing it anyway. And Trump, because he has been a champion of the Constitution, has not ignored them the way Biden did when it came to the forgiving student loans. The Supreme Court said no twice. He did it anyway. The court was powerless to stop him. It is time for Trump to stop this cabal of pretend conservative constitutionalists who are really advocates for the left. They want to be part of the social milieu in D.C., and they have betrayed him time and time again. So put in people who are bona fide fighters, people who you know will uphold the Constitution. That's point one. Point two, he needs to declare D.C. not only a federal entity, but to return any land he doesn't want to deal with to Maryland. and to help those parts of our states who are sick and tired of being ruled by blue governors and sanctuary cities and states, help them to secede. Parts of Oregon want to go to Idaho.
Yeah.
Parts of Virginia want to go to West Virginia.
Yeah.
Parts of California are just hoping for an earthquake that will sever the left permanently and drop it into the Pacific.
Yes.
Although, Rob, wouldn't that be colossal pollution of an innocent ocean?
Oh, it would be.
But in any event, he needs to assist them in their efforts, and that would be additional states. And he needs to pass laws that say that Puerto Rico cannot become a state. They were given the opportunity to vote several times.
Yeah.
Statehood, independence, Commonwealth, whatever. Well, you know what? I, as an American citizen, want to determine whether or not Puerto Rico becomes a state.
Yeah.
And I say no. I don't want it to
Yep.
become a state.
Yep.
It is too mired in corruption.
Yes.
There's too much of a tradition of culture there that is antithetical to American values and assimilation. In any event, he needs to take strong action. We can no longer have judges telling this man what his executive authority
Yes,
is, even
yes,
though the
yes.
Constitution makes it clear.
No.
He's commander-in-chief. He heads the executive branch of government.
Yep.
He could fire anyone he damn pleases. And the fact that he was so, beneficent in his dealings with federal workers during the shutdown is a remarkable testament to his.
Now, in closing things, by the way, Deplorabella, you're exactly right on the filibuster, because they are going to and already planning on a government shutdown in January. They're going to do it, Deplorabella. The Democrats are going to try and do it again in January. And,
yes, he's also correct in wanting to primary those Republicans like Rand Paul, who are just too precious by half, or a congressman like Macy, who are so, they're so in love with their own narcissistic image that they can't stop screwing Trump and pretending that they are the real voice of MAGA. No, these people have to go. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you've had your 15 minutes of fame and exceeded it. Enough. And I'm not saying that people on the right have to all conform, but there ought to be some sense of party loyalty. There ought to be some devotion to the principles which got them elected.
All right, listen, we've got to run. Deplorabella, as always, you are brilliant. The book is called Chronicles of Deplorabella. You'll pay a lot less than I did if you just go to Amazon. God bless you and yours on this Thanksgiving, my dear, and a glorious holiday season. We'll talk again soon, okay?
And to you, Rob. Love you, Dave.
All right, you too. She's an amazing person, and I am blessed to know her. You are blessed to have been able to hear her thoughts, and you will continue to do so. Coming up, Colonel Tony Schaefer joins us next to talk about Venezuela and other things on the other side of this break, and this is the Rob Carson Show. As the weather cools, I'm swapping in the pieces that actually get the job done. Warm, durable, built to last, and Quincy delivers every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. I call fall the great equalizer. You can put layers on. I actually like the way I look in clothes now, and Quincy has the kind of fall staples you actually want to wear on repeat, like 100% Mongolian cashmere from just $60. Classic fit denim, always good, and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up. I've got my eye on their suede trucker jacket. It's perfect for layering and looks really casual but put together. By partnering directly with ethical factories and top artisans, Quincy cuts out the middleman to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quincy.com/newsmax for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Newsmax. Free shipping and 365-day returns. QUINCE.com/Newsmax.
The Democrats shut down and them all leaving town will be a gift to me. I see it as a firing opportunity. Let the layoffs begin. America will win. Just you wait and see. The Democrats just gave me an opportunity. Now I have a chance, along with J.D. Vance, to make us more waste-free. A federal budget cutting opportunity. The budget I'll reduce when thousands are cut loose. Less bureaucracy. I will make this another opportunity. This is a big time opportunity.
I've got a crush on you, Mom Donnie. You're a communist, just like me. Private business, we oppose it. A takeover, we will propose it. Seize your house, take your car. Zoran Mamdani is our new star. The world will pardon my mush, but I have got a crush, Mamdani, on you. Drugs transported by boat, Venezuela. You best take note. Cartels, they're having fits 'cause they're men. They were blown to bits. The drug boat, it now resides on the ocean floor. The drug boat, Marco says we're gonna take out more. Yes, their lives are in danger if they take another chance. 'Cause drugs, we won't tolerate. Shut it down before it's too late. No drugs. A boat that was filled with drugs.
The question is, what is the future of Democratic leadership? Who is going to be effective? And most Democrats around the country just don't think that person is Chuck Schumer. I mean, he doesn't inspire confidence. He's not bold. He's out of touch with the grassroots. He's someone who cheerled us into the war in Iraq. He doesn't have the moral clarity on Gaza. He couldn't say Mamdani's name. And this was the final straw where he was not strong on fighting for health care.
So who is the person who you think should lead Democrats into the future in the Senate? Who's at the top of that list?
Yeah, who's on the bench?
Well, Senator Kaine has already given me a hard time for just saying that their minority leader should be someone different. I think if I endorsed someone, it would probably hurt them more than help them. But we have dynamic, young, new leaders. Chris Murphy is
Who are the dynamic young ones?
Top leader.
Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy's in his 50s.
Dynamic leader. Brian Schatz.
Yeah, Cory Booker's in his 50s.
A dynamic leader. I mean, Elizabeth Warren is someone who's...
Elizabeth Warren is 76 years old.
Theology, I appreciate. There's a lot of great talent. And really, is Chuck Schumer, when you think about it, just from a common sense test, do you think Democrats around the country think that...
Wow, all four of the dynamic young leaders that he talked about are senior citizens. That is Ro Khanna. They have no bench Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Joining us on the Newsmax Hotline is Colonel Tony Schaefer. Hello, my friend. How are you on this glorious Monday?
Hey, Rob, it's a beautiful day and always great to join you. Thanks for having me.
I might mention you are also Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army retired, president of Project Sentinel, and a 2020 Trump campaign national security advisor. Yeah, that's your Democrat Party. They are the bench is 4 people who are at least over 50 and 1 who's over 70. And I think this is why the Democrat Party is doing all of this distraction. Obviously, the shutdown was the next big thing, and it failed. But they're trying to distract from the fact that they have nobody on the bench except for, and did you notice that AOC wasn't mentioned? Did you notice that the communists and socialists were not mentioned there by Ro Khanna? Did you notice that?
So Ro is, well, it's kind of strange because I consider Ro a real Marxist, by the way. If you just look at what he says, he's constantly trying to promote collectivization of resources, the whole idea. And by the way, Rob, why do you and I have to pay $1.5 trillion to supplement someone else's health care? That's what they're trying to say we need to do.
Yeah.
And so, he's of that mind. But to your point, it's like, I don't know. I think if you took Nancy Pelosi and talked her out of retiring, you could probably find a way to, get her, blood from younger people. Maybe they could go in and have AOC transfuse blood to Nancy.
Well, I have said for years that Hillary Clinton bathes in the blood of virgins because I think she's actually 1,000 years old. Wouldn't surprise me. And listen, if Nancy could do that, she'd do it. If it required to sacrifice infants, she'd do it. She would. Let's talk a little bit about Venezuela. I'm very curious as to your thoughts on this. I thought it was really cool last week. Marco Rubio's thoughts basically on Europe being mad that we're blowing up drug booths. He basically told Europe they can suck it. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump? And he also mentioned possibility of talking to Maduro. What do you suppose is going on there, bro?
Well, I think there's a back channel open to Maduro right now. There's no doubt that something's going on because Trump even said, I'm going to give it a little bit of time. Normally, Rob, Trump will give someone time to think about it and find their own way out. And if not, I think there's going to be some very, very severe consequences in Venezuela. We're almost done with the drug boats. I think we're going to go for some internal targets next. But I think that's where this is going. And by the way, I said this on Newsmax on Sunday morning because I was getting some pushback from some folks saying, well, where's the authority for us to do all this stuff? It's like, look, we've had the authority to go after drug groups for years. It's called the Authorized Use of Military Force, AUMF. And so what's more likely? Are we more likely to have an Al-Qaeda terrorist do something on the homeland or a narco-terrorist who has done something, has been involved with the murder of tens of thousands of people? So I don't care what the Europeans say. We have the right to defend our country against all enemies, whether they're terrorists who want to blow us up or terrorists who want to use fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction to basically kill people.
Tony, listen. As far as I'm concerned, no holds barred. That SOB in charge of Venezuela has been emptying his prisons into our country. I don't give a flying rip what Donald Trump does to Venezuela. As far as I'm concerned, he paint all the targets in the world. Use napalm if you have to. I don't even give a crap. Do whatever is necessary to take these people out, and Rand Paul can stick it, honestly. And I'm going to tell you something. As far as these idiots who, these incrementalists, who say, well, why don't we send them Coast Guard and we'll pull them over and we'll screw that. There is nothing that makes me happier. There's nothing that makes me happier than lighting up a target like he's doing with these drug boats. Go ahead.
So Rob, we tried that in the 90s. It didn't work.
Yes.
Yeah, we tried being nice, like, we'll just pull him over and give him a ticket. Yeah, it didn't work like that. It didn't work like that. So you got to kill him.
There was no holds barred as far as they are concerned. And like I said, these people have been unloading their prisons into our country. We have also, had you ever heard of Tren de Aragua before Joe Biden was the president? No, of course not. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a war. They have been at war with us. We just have never struck back. This is a reciprocity, to say the least. Right. Did you see the protests in Mexico? A lot of Gen Z Mexico kids are sick and damn tired of the control of the Mexican government by the cartels there. It sounds like the head of Mexico is getting a little heat from the younger generations. And let's face it, that country is run by cartels.
Well, let's break that down a little bit. I think that's where President Trump's going with all this.
Yes.
Because not only Mexico, but all these narco nations, Rob, about 40% of their GDP is from illegal drugs. Think about that.
Yep.
So the moment, and that's why the president of Mexico said, "Oh yeah, we're not going to go after cartels because we're going to quote unquote violate their rights." Like, right?
Screw that.
Violate their rights.
Screw that. You know what they are? You know what Mexico is? Mexico is a sucker fish on the great white shark of America. And honestly, I've said forever, I said, all Donald Trump would have to do is say, you shut off immigration, or we end all trade and travel with Mexico, and Mexico dies. Mexico dies. That's just it. And you know, you can be a kindly neighbor south of us and live in the good graces of the safety and security and economic freedom of America, or you can get cut off. Now, I want to mention this also because last week Donald Trump and Kash Patel came back from China, and they are taking away all the precursors to build fentanyl. Right. And so it looks like fentanyl, you know, if you're addicted to it, you might want to get some, because it ain't going to be coming in like it used to. Maybe, you know, I mean, it's been majorly interrupted. So, yeah, we're trying to go both ways of denying the supply and then denying the profitability. So back to the point of these nations. This is why both Colombia and the British, think about this, the British now are denying this intel sharing on this, because guess what? Those British possessions, the 12 possessions the British have in the Caribbean, they all have the same thing. This is all about British banking, too. So much of global banking benefits from this. There's a great episode. I'm a big fan of Miami Vice. Yeah. Episode 2 of Season 2, Part 2 of Prodigal Son. Yes. Go watch the end of that episode. Sonny Crockett and Ricardo Tubbs end up talking to a banker. I'll just leave it at that. I won't ruin it. But I'm just telling you, President Trump's target here is global banking, one step past the whole drug thing. That is fantastic. Tony, can you hold on? Because on the other side, I want to talk about new blockbuster information about gasp, shriek, Ukraine may be corrupt. I want to talk about that next. I know. I'm as shocked as you are. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
95.
Here we go.
We like to keep Congress involved. I mean, we're stopping drug dealers and drugs from coming into our country. And I actually told Marco and some of the people, our Secretary of State is doing a great job, by the way. I said, go to Congress and let them know we're not letting drugs come through Mexico. We're not letting them come through Venezuela. And let Congress know about it. We don't have to get their approval, but I think letting them know is good. The only thing I don't want them to do is leak information that's very important and confidential and may put our military at risk, or whoever is doing, CIA, military, etc. But I did say, I said, go and see Congress, see the representatives that we're supposed to be seeing, and be open about it.
Yeah, that's Donald Trump talking about. He's not going to stop bombing drug boats. He's not going to stop disrupting the narco traffickers. And as Tony Schaefer mentioned a moment ago, a lot of people, a lot of banks make a lot of money off of narco trafficking around the world, and they don't care where that money comes from, do they?
Exactly, and that's the point. We have so many illicit and illegal activities. By the way, spoiler alert, we're going to come to find that there's members of Congress on both sides who are making money off this. Just saying.
Yep. 100%. There has to be a reason why no one said a damn thing about the southern border being open, despite all of the trafficking of children, of women, and everything else. There had to be somebody getting paid. Here's the headline: Ukraine scrambles to limit damage from blockbuster corruption scandal. Believe it or not, it's in the energy sector over there. Can you believe that the energy sector is one of the many sectors over there that are corrupt, Tony? Did it come as a surprise to you?
No, I think we ought to pull Hunter Biden out of retirement and send him over to investigate, don't you think?
Yes. Well, that's what the top officials are rushing to reassure Kyiv's Western partners after alleging $100 million kick scheme in the energy sector. Burisma, anyone? But we also, Tony, know that after sending Ukraine $200 billion and them saying they essentially didn't know where it all went. I mean, this country's been corrupt from the get-go.
Oh, by the way, there was a vote under Biden by Congress saying, they basically voted against doing auditing of the money going there. Yeah. Like, okay, again, people are on the take. And I think a lot of things are being washed back via USAID, which is now stopped, but there's still stuff in the pipeline that they're getting. There's all sorts of things, Rob, that we now know. And this is where President Trump has to continue to have the fortitude and the courage to do what's necessary because, again, this is nonpartisan. We're going to come to find that some of the Republicans were just as much at fault as the Democrats. And we need to accept that for what it is and go after whoever was involved, whoever's been basically kind of going along to get along and making money on the back end, which a lot of people, I think, have been doing.
They use the faux patriotism at the very, very beginning of the war. They had Zelensky come and speak to Congress. They draped the damned Ukrainian flag over over the House Speaker's desk in the Houses of Congress. And Ukraine has always been a massive money laundering operation for the despots of the world.
Yep. So to that point,
that's it.
We need, and the fact that we cut back on it doesn't mean we shouldn't account for the $300 billion that's been spent. And the Democrats saying, "Oh, it wasn't $300 billion." Yes, it was. About 2/3 of that was defense spending, and then the rest of it was all of these loans, which Congress said, "Oh yeah, we gave you the loan. Don't worry about paying it back. You can keep that." That all counts towards the money we gave them as well. So we do need to have accountability. And by the way, all roads lead back to Zelensky. I'm just saying that's where this is all going to go. So
yeah, and he's also gotten rid of elections, so he's in power right now. How do you suppose that America? Because I've said, and when at the very beginning of this conflict, I said this war, this conflict, all of this money is going to pad the retirement accounts of American members of Congress. So how do you suppose some of that money, may have made its way back from Ukraine to benefit American politicians?
Well, two ways. First, and the most obvious is when these guys get speaking fees. remember, Rob, these guys don't have to report quite everything they get. I mean, there's ways they can hide it, and so they go to these big organizations. They get to get paid to talk. That's one way. Secondly, they have family members who have think tanks and NGOs. Think about it. They have all these people who are, running think tanks and non-governmental organizations. Trust me, this is where we need to kick that anthill over and start looking at all this stuff going on, because we're going to come to find that people on both sides of the aisle were getting all these kickbacks to USAID.
Yep.
They're getting paid through speaking fees and other things. Oh, by the way, another big scam. Somebody writes a book. Nobody reads the book. Are you going to read Kamala Harris's book? Well, of course you're not. They buy these books, they put them in a warehouse, and big corporations buy them and pay people off. It's a big scam.
And by the way, if they're talking about a $100 million kickback scheme, I think this is a distraction. I think there's much more. Dear God, I tell you. Tony, I appreciate you so much, man. Tony Shaffer. Where can people find all your work, bro?
Colonel Shaffer, ColonelTonyShaffer.com. Check us out there. And we're doing stuff on my X account, too, special interviews and debriefing. So check us out. Check me out on X, Tony Shaffer, Spooky, and ColonelShaffer.com. ColonelTonyShaffer.com.
All right. God bless you, brother, and a glorious Thanksgiving to you and yours. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hello, everybody. What we got here? What are we going to do now? Oh, Michelle Obama. No, let's do MSNBC next year. I got to do MSNBC. They signed off this weekend, but they didn't really sign off. Hello, Prani Yuperchat. Good to see you on Facebook. Fick Ukraine and Fick Zelensky, Beth. Yeah, I think I know what you're trying to say there. Did you misspell a word? Donna Bowman, love your show. Mr. Carson, you glad you're here with us? Donna, glad to have you with us as well. Thank you. Thank you for watching the program and listening to it. Vicky Stevens as well. Hello. Over on YouTube, who's watching? Occam's Razor 9183, the shortest line, right? The solution is obvious, right? Ukraine is corrupt. Duh. Failure is not an option. We cannot go back 100%. Mickey Hastings, Adrian John, hello, good to see you over on the YouTube Premium as well. And Rumbly Roo, Robert Myers and You Drink It, and Beck Ottenberry and Dookie Bear. I'm going to see Dookie Bear during the weekend after Thanksgiving, right here. Round a Pony in South Dakota. You see there are no fire ants in South Dakota. Well, you know what? Here's the difference between the upper Midwest and like lower states, okay? In the lower states, if you move a cinder block that's been on the ground, for northern states, you move a cinder block that's been on the ground for a while, you're going to see nothing under it, maybe a pill bug. In the South, if you lift a cinder block that's been on the ground, there's a family living under it. You find all sorts of bugs and critters and centipedes and like people even live on it. It's amazing. That's the difference between North and South. Valentina says she got divorced too. I know it sucks, right? All right, here we go.
Got that 350 here.
This show is the very last broadcast for MSNBC from 30 Rock. Because tomorrow, in just a few minutes, MSNBC becomes MS Now. And I can tell you this, I cannot wait. You, the audience, who I've gotten to know and love and appreciate, I cannot wait to take you with me into our new future. I'm excited about what is to come, and I cannot wait to see you at the end of Monday.
There you go. That is Stephanie Rule signing off MSNBC. And MSNBC is dead, but they're saying basically same mission, new name. So they're not going to change it all. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, this is a little montage of all the things that MSNBC was wrong about and why they're no longer.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years.
Being able to hop from person to person to person.
potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way. Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
Police station. There are fires burning in different directions around me. There's another fire over there. You can see from the aerial shots. And to your point a moment ago, I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly.
You believe the president right now has been an agent of the Russians?
Yes, I think there's more evidence than he is. Yes, and I think all the arrows point in that direction, and I haven't seen a single piece of evidence that he's not.
An agent like in the 1940s where you had people who were Reds, to use an old term, like that. In other words, working for a foreign power.
There's a reason why MSNBC doesn't exist anymore. It's because they lie. This is the first Christmas song of the season, although we did it last year, from Jim Gossett.
MSNBC is crashing. They're paying for their Trump trashing. Especially Morning Joe. Let him go, let him go, let him go. CNN is also slipping.
Yeah.
In the ratings, how they're dipping. Nobody watches Jake Tapper's show.
Yeah, he got fired.
Let him go, let him go, let him go.
No, he still has a job.
It is time to get rid of Joy Reid.
Yeah, she's gone.
And take Anderson off the air.
Yeah, he's still got a job.
Dana Bash, they really don't need.
I think she's got a job.
If she left, no one would care.
Nah.
Santa sent Mika a letter. Said the sooner you leave, the better.
Bye, Don Lemon.
Santa said with a ho, ho, ho. Let her go. Let her go. Let her go.
There you go. So yeah, it's the same crap. They're just calling it MS Now. So it's like if you had a menu and it was a crap sandwich and you just decided to name it the Merd sandwich. Then that's what's happening at MSNBC. And they won't last long doing that, by the way, because you see all the lies that they told the last many years were uncovered, resulted in their demise. So this is just the latest coat of paint. I'll just put it that way. On the way, Michelle Obama blames white people for straightening her hair. Also, MTG and Donald Trump's war for words, and the Butler shooting, if we get to it, all the questions that still exist. There were other people involved. I'll just say it. Coming up. Don't go anywhere.
right now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 3, as we broadcast from radio stations around the country, and then also stream the video live as well on all of Newsmax social media. Welcome to the third hour of the show. Hey, we had a great weekend. My Chiefs lost yesterday. Not a big surprise. I don't know. My son and I were talking about it, and I said, the Chiefs, they're not a Super Bowl team this year. They might have not been the one last year, to be quite honest. But they lost barely last night to the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos are a pretty good team this year. Had some amazing come-from-behind victories. And I said, there's a point where you kind of got to go, it's time for the cream to rise to the crop. There are a lot of good teams out there that are having outstanding seasons. Unfortunately, the Patriots appear to be one of them. But I haven't been able to pay as much attention to the NFL season as I normally would, just because I'm not watching it with my family. So my Sundays are spent doing other things. But I did get a chance to watch a little bit of it yesterday on the TNV. But yeah, it'll be an interesting playoff situation. But there are some who are teams that are barely on the, just hanging on for the possibility of playoff, and you need to get in the playoffs. But I wouldn't hold my breath on your team going to the Super Bowl unless they're already way out in front, like so many are right now this season. So anyway, a few thoughts on that. Things I want to get to right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know what this is all about, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump. I know that she went on The View. She softened her edge. She's obviously looking forward to some sort of political office, and she's abandoning her MAGA cred to soften her image. I'm a little disappointed because the reason why I liked MTG, she's a badass. She went to Washington, D.C. She gave him a little what for. And she suffered a lot of arrows. She took a lot of arrows for Donald Trump coming here to Washington, D.C. This is her yesterday on, or this weekend, maybe it was on Saturday, on CNN, saying that she was hurt because Donald Trump called her a traitor.
I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends. And
well, hold on, MTG. I mean, I understand that, but who actually started it?
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
Okay, so that's where I disagree with MTG. Disagree with her because I'm not ready to extend an olive branch to people who did that to us. And then it culminated in trying to put our president in jail, take him off the ballot, and murder him.
Families, neighbors, and it's not solving our...
Yeah, you know who divided the families? Do you know who divided the neighbors? The left. The Democrat Party did. The people who left families, who decided they didn't want to be a part of marriages, were the Democrats.
Problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue.
Here she is. She's acting like she's all sorts of hurt now.
Is he called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me.
Okay. Marxist, Hitler, Nazi, fascist. One of those words was on the shell casing, the spent shell casing of the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk. That was the word fascist, used by Democrats.
And put my life in danger. What do you think happened?
She's like cracking up, like almost like she's crying, which she's never, ever done. She's never done that before. She's obviously trying to appeal to a different audience, continue her political career, maybe as somebody different. She's talking about apparently there is a, hold on, I got it. She's coming up with a new movement, not MAGA. It's like AFAO. AFAO. It appears that Greene is launching her own getaway Republican movement, AFAO, after not as in Schwartz, after being a MAGA stalwart for years. America first, America only is what it is.
What do you think is the reason for this?
And do you know who's going to leave MAGA for Marjorie Taylor Greene and the FO, whatever the hell it is? Nobody.
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims.
Okay, Donald Trump has said release the Epstein files because he has nothing to hide.
I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations.
Yeah, we do too.
And I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped.
That's true, yeah.
And sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected.
Yeah, okay, well, that's all fine. That's why Donald Trump said open up the files. This is Donald Trump over the weekend being asked about MTG and calling her a traitor.
Her life is in danger? Who's that?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, she says.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her. Okay, what about you?
Yeah, by the way, Donald Trump or Marjorie Taylor Greene has said that she is now the victim of threats. And now the threats only come from the left generally. In fact, they're also the murders and the assassination attempts or successful ones. She says Trump's unwarranted and vicious attacks against me were a dog whistle to dangerous radicals that could lead to serious attacks on me and my family. Okay, no. The Supreme Court justice was nearly assassinated by a leftist. Bernie Sanders supporter shot up a baseball field with Republicans. What? Seriously? MTG, what the hell's going on? What the hell is going on with you? This is your Democrat Party. These are the people who have committed the acts of violence.
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. President Biden believes that Donald Trump is a fascist. I mean, yes.
This sounds like Nazi rhetoric. This sounds like fascist rhetoric. It sounds like white supremacist rhetoric.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes. The violence has never come from the right. MTG. And that you would say that, really, honestly, is disingenuous. And I'm really bummed about this because I like her. I have liked her. I've been supportive of her. Donald Trump has withdrawn her support for MTG. This is Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings may have kind of an answer for this because she was going to run for Senate, and she was going to go up against the John Ossoff. I believe his dad's name is Jack Ossoff. So Jack Ossoff was the dad of John Ossoff, and Scott Jennings said that Donald Trump gave her some insider polling that said there's no way that she could win against him, which makes me kind of wonder why the reason she's moving away from MAGA is because she thinks she's unelectable in Georgia because of it.
Technically true, based on what I've heard and what I know, that he didn't tell her not to run, but what she didn't say was that he sent her a poll privately, discreetly, and it had information in it, and it showed her down 20 points to John Ossoff. And so in politics, when you want to send a message to someone that you like or that has been an ally, you don't embarrass them publicly. You privately send them information and show them what the reality is. And so I think it's true that he didn't tell her not to run, but it's also true that he did her a big favor, which is to show her information that a candidacy statewide in Georgia for her would have been a disaster.
And
Congresswoman, thank you for being
maybe
here.
she is moving away from MAGA for that reason. She clearly wants a political future. If this is the case, I mean, honestly, no. This is what Donald Trump said on Truth Wacky. Marjorie, all she does is complain. It seemed to begin when I said her polling that she should not run for senator. She was at 12%, didn't have a chance. She has told many people that she is upset with me. I don't return her phone calls anymore. With 219 congressmen and women, 53 U.S. senators, 24 cabinet members, almost 200 countries, and an otherwise normal life to lead, I can't take a ranting lunatic every day. That's what he said. He says that the district of Marjorie in her district of Georgia, they're fed up with her and her antics, and if the right person runs, they will have a complete and unyielding support from me. She's gone far left, even doing The View with their low IQ Republican-hating anchors. So I don't know. You don't abandon your principles like that. And I guess, and I don't know the whole story, but I'm kind of leaning into disappointment with MTG after many years of supporting her. I don't know. I want to talk about Michelle Obama, who's never worked a day in her life, ever worked a day in her bloody life. And she's bringing back some idiotic stereotypes from the, like 1960s and 70s, like the reason why she straightens her hair is because white people want it. She blames white people. She's really just an awful, putrid human being. And she also says that Americans are either not smart enough or not open-minded enough to elect a woman as president. Here's the problem. Democrats have offered us Kamala Harris as a supposedly black presidential candidate. And the reason why she wasn't elected is because she's eminently unqualified and a complete moron. And then also Hillary Clinton is corrupt and an awful person. And that's why she wasn't elected either. So it's just that you give us sucky choices is what it is. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Radio and the WCBM radio app are free. Download it
Hey,
today
Brian.
from your app store.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a second. You know, I was just thinking, and somebody wrote on the live chat on Rumble that if you got a bunch of pennies saved, you better off melting them and selling them for copper. And I was doing a little research during the break, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the price of it takes 181 pennies for a pound of copper, so 181 cents, $1.81. And the price of copper is $5 a pound. So technically, if you just took your pennies and sold them for copper, you're quadrupling your money. Am I wrong? Because I just looked this up, and because I Googled it, so it's obviously right. But copper right now is $5.06 a pound, and they're 181 pennies in a pound, so that'd be $1.81 for $5. That's a 150% increase. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I know I'm an expert a semi-expert on gold. I've learned a lot about gold since working with Birch Gold, and copper has gone up, but gold has gone up about 60% in the last year. Gold was only worth about $2,600 a pound in January. Last January, this January, as we approach this January, $4,200, $4,100. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty. If you are looking to diversify your savings, maybe it's time to look at Birch Gold. I've been talking to you. Birch Gold forever. Birch Gold forever. All you got to do to get the ball rolling, learn a little bit more about investing in gold, is just text my name, Rob, to 989898. Claim your eligibility. For free gold, by the way, for every $20,000 invested in Birch Gold, they will send you free gold to your home. So you get free gold with your investment of $20,000. It ends November the 30th. So if you want to take advantage of that, you might want to get on it. In fact, I would suggest you get on it right now, because it's not an overnight thing. You can't do it in a second. Just say, transfer my money. Doesn't work like that. It's a process, not an event, as I like to say. So you got to get started by texting my name, Rob, to 989898. $2,600 to $4,000 in 1 year. That's better than your 401k, unless you've got Nancy Pelosi handling your portfolio. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold. Michelle Obama's a spoiled child. She's had everything handed to her, and she's never worked a day in her life. But she's black. Yeah, it doesn't matter. There are black people, actually, who've lived a life of luxury and have lived a lot better life than I have. I grew up in poverty. We had government cheese when I was in 4th grade. It was so good. We made grilled cheeses without the bread. It was incredible. Oh, my God in heaven. And there are still a whole lot of poor people across the country who are white people. I know. They go out and they pick crops, and they do offshore fishing and high altitude welding and stuff like that. And mine coal. They do a lot of coal mining too. So this has always been ridiculous. But here's Michelle Obama. She was doing some idiotic interview with a woman named Tracy Ellis, another spoiled, entitled person. She's got a new book called The Look. And here's Michelle Obama. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but I don't know when this happened. I don't know if Oprah did it or whatever, but a lot of black women started straightening their hair, and I think it looks great. Whatever. I like regular whatever hair you wear. It doesn't even matter to me. But Michelle Obama is blaming white people for it.
Worry about it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes...
Okay, you don't need to explain anything to me, you spoiled, entitled brat.
...out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards...
No, not at all. We could care less if you wanted to have a fro or if you wanted to have a hair straighten or whatever. I've known plenty of women who have an afro that look totally hot.
We are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't...
I don't think Uhuru on Star Trek straightened her hair.
...swim, and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all.
No, it's not for us, you fool.
It is exhausting, and it's so expensive, and it takes up so much time.
Then don't do it,
Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act? an act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair.
We don't want anything to do with your hair. Dear God. I mean, honestly, woman, get the hell over yourself. Get the hell over yourself. Here she is talking about why America's not ready for a black or a woman president,
and how,
or the both of them.
How women actually show up in the world today.
Do you think that impacts the room that we've made for a woman to be president?
Well, as we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready. That's why.
No, we just weren't ready to elect an idiot.
Like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman.
No, it's not about a woman. It's not about your girl parts. It's because the Democrat Party has had 2 terrible women candidates.
You're not. So don't waste my time.
Yeah, you know what? Stop hating on America. We were perfectly fine. You just got to give us a better choice. Dear God. Here's Victor Davis Hanson talking about Michelle Obama.
Who was treated more unfairly, Donald Trump and Melania Trump, by the media? I'm talking now, NPR, PBS, NBC, CBS, ABC, New York Times, Washington Post. I could go on, or you. When Donald Trump made the cover of a magazine like the New Republic, he had a Hitler mustache. When you and Barack Obama, he was dressed like FDR and said, "The new socialism is back." Yeah, everybody bent over backwards to accommodate you. Your memoir.
Absolutely. And by the way, back to Michelle Obama never having a job.
You came out of Harvard Law School. You were in a Chicago law firm. You wanted a sneaker count right away. Mm-hmm. And then when he was elected senator, they gave you a non-job for $350,000 basically at the University of Chicago Medical School to direct people away from the medical school who couldn't pay. You were always given either equitable treatment or exemplary treatment. If you want to go Google and say, make fun of First Lady, see how many things come up under Melania versus you.
And how much is she worth for doing nothing?
As far as altering the White House, you made a special little kind of nice organic garden. You did whatever you wanted. And yet now you're worth probably over $100 million. And no offense, but I don't.
But she's got to straighten her hair because a white guy told her to do it or something.
Think that you and Barack had any reputation, history, CV, resume of being particularly accomplished Netflix content thinkers, creators. That's what they gave you. What, $20 million? So you walked out of the White House. Remember Barack had said, if I'm going to run the president, I'm going to do it to transform the country. I'm not going to do it just to cash in. That's what you did. So can't you just say, this is an amazing country?
Yeah. And a lot of us work our entire lives for a pittance compared to what you got for doing nothing. Nothing. Get over yourself. Nobody cares about you or your hair, and nobody told you had to wear your hair straightened. Dear Lord. Erika Donalds, the wife of Byron Donalds, joins us next to talk about Chicago public schools and what a joke they are. Yeah, and how corrupt they are. That's on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. As the weather cools, I'm swapping in the pieces that actually get the job done. Warm, durable, built to last, and Quincy delivers every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. I call fall the great equalizer. You can put layers on. I actually like the way I look in clothes now, and Quincy has the kind of fall staples you actually want to wear on repeat, like 100% Mongolian cashmere from just $60. Classic fit denim, always good, and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up. I've got my eye on their suede trucker jacket. It's perfect for layering and looks really casual but put together. By partnering directly with ethical factories and top artisans, Quincy cuts out the middleman to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quincy.com/newsmax for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Newsmax. Free shipping and 365-day returns. QUINCE.com/Newsmax.
Terrell, the new report from the Office of Inspector General points to what it calls questionable excessive spending on overnight trips for CPS employees, including staff excursions to places like Egypt, Finland, and South Africa. This morning, the oversight body Watchdog urging Chicago Public Schools to reform its travel policies after the Office of Inspector General found CPS travel expenditures surged to $7.7 million last year. That's more than double what the district spent 5 years prior before the pandemic.
Yeah, during the pandemic, apparently there's a reason why so many teachers decided to take a little time off, because they were traveling. They were traveling Chicago. It's interesting because I was going to cover that story today, and then lo and behold, out of nowhere, I hear Erika Donalds wanted to be on the show today, and she joins us on the Newsmax Hotline. Erika Donalds, the wife of Byron Donalds, chair of America First Policy Institute's Center for Education Opportunity, joins us right now on the Newsmax Hotline. How are you doing today, Erika?
Well, I am doing great. Thanks for having me on, but I am furious at this news out of Chicago Public Schools.
I saw this story this weekend, and I thought my head was going to explode. And the other story, the follow-up story this morning, they had a protest in Chicago because people got a $955 increase in their property taxes. And what are they getting for their money? What are they getting there? The worst schools ever. And during COVID, teachers decided to go to Egypt and other tropical destinations on our dime.
It's absolutely ridiculous. As a former school board member, where's the school board holding these people accountable on behalf of the taxpayers?
So they went all over the world. They stayed in and they used under the guise of whatever you do when you want to go to a tropical location and pretend like it's work, and to the tune of millions and millions and millions of dollars. You had people like Randy Weingarten, actually promoting teachers staying out of classrooms, and they did. And it looks like now, Erika Donalds, that it wasn't to teach remotely. It wasn't out of the concern for the safety of the children. It was just taking some time off, leaving your bunny slippers on, or going on a vacation.
Absolutely. We're talking sightseeing tours, leisure trips, $400 a night suites that are ignoring the caps that they're supposed to have on these trips that are supposed to be work-related. They even had a college tour that was budgeted for $15,000 come back at $72,000. Meanwhile, the kids cannot read. They have some of the worst reading performance in the country, and yet they're spending money on things that are not helping students at all.
I got to tell you, Erika, we always speak so highly of our teachers, and I think you probably have a teacher or two or five that you look back and you go, oh my God, they really made a difference in my life. But honestly, the COVID really exposed to me the rot in the educational system. Also, the Department of Education, the defunding of the DEA, the disbandment of it, made us realize that a lot of the teachers, but mostly the upper echelons of education and the teachers union were in cahoots to get as much money as they could to grease their own palms and elect Democrats as they were spending on educating children.
Oh, absolutely. And we have seen this time and again. Absolutely. We support teachers. This is not about teachers who are working hard in the classroom every day to help students succeed. It's also not about the Department of Education in Washington, which is just a bunch of bureaucrats pushing papers around, adding to the bureaucracy that means that money that taxpayers want to go into classrooms is stopping all along the way for pencil pushers and box checkers. It's not about either one of those things. But teachers, union members, administrative bloat, those are where a lot of this money is being spent that is not going to helping students succeed. And we're seeing it in the scores all over the country.
It's amazing what you're able to get done with a Zoom call, by the way. And if you watch network television these days, they don't fly guests anymore. They just, have them on their computer from a hotel room because it's cheaper that way. Yet, there was $7.7 million for travels and spending in 2024 compared with $3.4 million in 2022 in Chicago public schools. They had basically charged Chicago public schools for limo rides to the airport, education retreats, spa resorts, going to places like Vegas or Disney World, like you're going to get anything accomplished at either one of these places. And travel agencies had no budget restrictions. This was wholesale graft. There was a trip, $20,000 staff trip to Egypt that was never approved, but they went anyway. Do you suppose, Erika Donalds, with the defunding of the Department of Education, that had, by the way, grown by what, 40 or 60% when Joe Biden was the president, do you suppose that this is going to begin to have an impact on these school districts? And where do we go from here? Because obviously in cities like Baltimore and New York City and every major city in America, particularly where kids of color go to school, these people have literally kept these kids uneducated, uninformed, and graduated generations of children unable to live and make a successful living. And this, do you suppose this is going to end anytime soon?
Unfortunately, getting rid of the Federal Department of Education is not going to impact the bureaucracy on the ground and closest to the people. We're just getting rid of one layer of many layers of bureaucracy. The real solution is to restore accountability by breaking the monopoly. You've heard me talk about this. We don't want to get rid of public schools. We have to get rid of public school monopolies to give parents more options and forcing the system to either improve, run leaner, be more responsive to parents. There's now federal tax credit scholarship program, doesn't have anything to do with the Department of Education, but if Illinois were to opt into this, it would allow families to access high-quality schools, public charter, faith-based, while creating that competitive pressure that these bureaucracies cannot ignore, and they cannot operate in such a bloated way.
You know, I've been talking the last few weeks about people like J.B. Pritzker and the mayor of Chicago, and how they're literally standing in the schoolhouse door again. And I think these Democrat mayors in these cities want to keep, particularly people of color, uneducated, impoverished, dependent, and aggrieved. And it's been going on for 60 years in this country, hasn't it, Erika?
It has. But you know what? The people have woken up. That was the silver lining to COVID. They found out that the teachers' unions, while they're fighting against opening schools and serving children, they're on vacation. They're serving themselves, the adults, and not the kids. It's a symptom of the larger problem of this monopoly and of the bureaucracy and the teachers' union system. We need strict spending controls. We need full transparency. We need consequences for the misuse of funds. We need to refocus the taxpayers' attention on outcomes for students, make that a transparency, force these bureaucracies to perform. It is a national security issue, and we must be furious enough to elect the right people that are going to make these changes.
And by God, we cannot have another generation of children, and there have been about 2 or 3 of them born since Lyndon Johnson's Great Society, which caused inner city schools to descend into the pits of hell. And I have had enough of it, to be quite honest. Erika Donalds, where can people find out more about the American First Policy Institute's Center for Education Opportunity, and how can we help you guys?
Follow me at Erika Donalds on all social media platforms, AmericaFirstPolicy.com, and you can go to education. We've got lots of information there on what's going on and how to get involved.
I'm so glad we had you on today, and I was going to talk about this today, and that you showed up. I was like, hell yes, I love this. Thanks for being on the show. Happy Thanksgiving to both you and your husband, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, and same to you.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
People are stunned that the robbery suspect is just 12 years old. One of those robberies happening right here near the Noma Gallaudet U New York Avenue Metro Station. Riders tell me as they get off trains that they can't believe that this suspect is 12 years old. Let's roll some video to show you more about these robberies.
Yeah, that is in Washington, D.C. I shared that story. I had it a couple weeks ago. It happened, and I just got the video for it. It was posted this morning. And, this is what happens when the Great Society, Lyndon Johnson's decision to reinvent the family, and it blew up the nuclear family, particularly in America's inner cities. And we have seen enormous suffering since, and generations of particularly black children. I'll say it because I've been talking about this for as long as I've been in broadcasting, and it's heartbreaking beyond belief. Heartbreaking beyond belief. And I'm hoping and praying that when big fat J.B. Titzler and Brandon Johnson get out of the way, and Donald Trump goes in there and turns these cities around, eventually we can fix the schools and help the kids and to bring the families back together. Because in America's inner cities, the black murder rate, black on black, is 13 times the national average. The abortion rate is about 70%. 70%. The fatherless home, 75, 80%. And I'm just not going to be shy about talking about it. I'm not going to. You got to fix it. I'm not saying this doesn't happen in other families and all of that, but it has been so ridiculous and out of control, and Democrats have never done a damn thing about it. Never. And I'm sick and tired of watching generations of young children die young. Life expectancy, half, what it is elsewhere. It's just so sickening. So sickening. I said sooner or later dads are going to have to stand up and grow some and say we're done with this bullcrap with transgendered men claiming to be girls going into women's locker rooms. And a group of fathers in Maine have had enough, and they're putting together a petition drive. I would sign the petition, because the next step is dad going in the locker room and dragging the boy who dresses like a girl out by his hair.
Organizers behind Protect Girls Sports in Maine held a signature drive in Brunswick for a citizens initiative that would ban transgender athletes from girls' sports teams and locker rooms. If the group gets 68,000 signatures by February, the referendum will go to voters next November. If passed, It would require schools to restrict sports and facilities by gender, either male, female, or co-ed.
Yeah, that means if you have an outie, that you got to go into the boys' locker room, and if you got an innie, you go to the girls' locker room, and that's the way it's always been. And the left perpetrated this idiocy on us for years, and finally people are starting to get it. Here's a little PSA from the fathers in the state of Maine.
Hey Maine, the Protect Girls Sports initiative to designate sports male, female, and co-ed is going amazing.
And we would suggest that you sign the petition, because if this doesn't pass, we're going to start dragging those boys dressed out up like girls out of the girls' locker room and give them a little what for.
Over 60,000 have signed the petition at this point. Now it's your turn. This Saturday, we're hosting drive-through signing events. Just drive up. We'll hand you the petition.
It's about time to take back common sense. We got an idiot now who was elected in Virginia who has never taken back her support of boys showering with girls, Abigail Spamberger. And she better not pull that crap while I live here, because I live here now. And she ain't seen nothing like Rob Carson, baby. And I'll tell you what, I'll get people at school board meetings like you never believe. I'll do a live damn broadcast. I'll do a nationwide broadcast from a parking lot, from a school board parking lot. We'll do it. Bring it, Abigail Spamberger. Come on. Here is Donald Trump earlier this year calling out the governor of Maine. Remember this?
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it, because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports.
No, they don't.
So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state. Good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be.
I love that. Me too. This is going around the interweb this morning. Michigan State Superintendent Sue Carnell. She's a liberal Karen. Okay, these are crazy cul-de-sac dwelling Karens. They're formerly HOA members who ride people's asses about the length of their grass and if they have some mildew on their siding. And they decided to run for office and tell everybody what to do. And when George Floyd died of a drug overdose, she decided that that Native American mascots shouldn't exist anymore, and that the Land O'Lakes Indians should no longer be on the butter, for God's sake, and that Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima had to leave the packages, and now they call the Uncle Ben. No. What was it? Aunt Jemima is now like something Mills, something or other. It's stupid. It's just because it's Karen. But here's Karen, the Michigan State Superintendent, Sue Carnell, the Karen, drawing a blank when she's asked a very simple question about gender.
How many genders are there? How many genders are there?
Different people have different beliefs on that.
Well, you can believe all you want, but science says there's two.
Yeah. I think we're kind of done with this. No, we are done with this crap. We were done with it, but now guess what? Our president is in charge. And we're done with it. Absolutely done with it. It's over. Let it go. Because if you try to reignite this, it ain't going to get lit. It ain't going to get lit. But you are. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Yeah, I'm about done with that crap. How about you? I'm going to do that. I'm going to wrap it up with something fun today. Yeah, Skinny Girl says it's not just science that says there's two genders, it's God. Yeah, because you see, you got to. This is the boy and this is the girl, and this causes babies to be born. I don't know if you knew that. This doesn't. This doesn't. It's okay if you want to do this or this. That's your business. But this makes the babies. Maybe it's too much for you people. That's a little treat for you guys streaming online that nobody heard except for you guys. Anyway, we got Deplorable Dinosaur watching, and Kimberly Wiederhold and Andy 1270. Good to see you. MAGA strong as ever. Go Trump. Yeah, it is stronger than ever. Actually, stronger than ever. Pat Carr, hello. Good to see you over there on the Rumbly Roo. I don't think I've seen you there before. Sportech, I'm done too, Rob. Yeah, I'm done with this horse crap. And we had enough of it. It was stupid when it was happening. Now it's even more ridiculous. And I ain't going to take it anymore. Not going to take it anymore. Not going to take it anymore. I think we're going to wrap things up with something fun here. How's that sound? We're going to end things with Karen. Here we go.
680 WCVM.
Hi, this is Dave Siri.
I got one more
Every
commercial.
Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m.
I can still talk to you. I apologize. It will. All right, hold on. All right. Mickey Hastings, hello. Time for me to get out of here. Bruce Radford, time for me to get out of here. Thanks for watching today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show.
Give it 3.5 here.
A number of Americans say they want to leave the country permanently. This is according to a new Gallup poll. 20% of people say they want to live somewhere else.
Who's
That's
that?
1 in 5. And the shift is mainly driven by young women, ages 15 to 44.
Liberal women.
40% of them say that they want to go. And Martha and I texted about this last night because I'm thinking we've had an opportunity to travel many places around the world. To me, there is no better place in America. If you were born here,
it is.
George Bush used to say, you won life's great lottery.
Exactly
You're an educated
right.
American woman. Your ticket.
See, Karen got her rear end handed to her in November after trying to engineer all of this idiocy, all of this nonsense, all of this transgender nonsense, all of this George Floyd nonsense, getting rid of Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima and the Dixie Chicks and the Dixie Cup and Columbus and all that. And now they just can't take it anymore, so they're leaving. And I say, don't let the door hit you. On the way out, Jim Gossett.
Well, they have a lot of cats, and they're mostly Democrats like VP Harris.
Bye-bye, Karen. Bye-bye, Karen. See ya.
They cry when they lose from their left-wing views. I wish they'd spare us. They're cat ladies.
Rare.
Whoa, 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 they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who have clearly lost their mind.
People that are pro-life, I hate you.
Got called out by J.D. Vance. When he had the chance, he really nailed them.
First time they've been nailed in a while.
They're too dumb to know Kamala and Joe have really failed them. They're cat ladies. Don't have a child, they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who are out of their mind.
Yeah. They are, and liberal women are the most subject to social contagion, all of the idiocy associated with COVID. They all fell for it, and they demanded everybody wear a mask and everything. And I unfortunately, Karen won in New Jersey, and Karen appears to have won in Virginia. But I think Karen is kind of on her last breath, to be quite honest. I think America's done with Karen. And I'm sorry if your name is Karen. It's just the name they came up with for liberal women. I identified Karen in the mid-'90s when I lived in Minneapolis and did a morning show up there. And out of these white women call up and they'd say, well, you know, I think these Native American these mascots are offensive. And I'll say, are you Native American? No, but I know somebody. And I'm like, you know, go away. I remember one time I said something, I don't know, it was about hearing impairment or whatever. I said something about the hearing impaired, and it was probably just a light thing. And this woman called up and says, I'm really offended that you'd make fun of deaf people. I said, well, I invite all of my deaf listeners to call. I didn't get any calls. It was weird. And by the way, I support the blind and the deaf. They are the most marginalized people in the world, and God bless them. All right, it's time for me to go. This was a good way to start a Monday, wasn't it? Did we have fun? I think we had fun. Check out the podcast today. God bless you. America's founded Donald Trump as he makes this country even greater in his second term. And until tomorrow, which is Tuesday, do not catch the stupid. I'll see you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.